Do you want to build real wealth like the top 1% without working harder or wasting decades? In this video, I'm breaking down the 3-step system the wealthy use to multiply money, escape the rat race, and create true financial freedom. I use these exact steps to go from 6 figures in debt to a multi-million-dollar business, and by the end, you'll know how to start playing and winning the game they never taught you. And if you're a coach or an aspiring entrepreneur who wants to stop trading time for dollars and start building real wealth, there's an even faster way to get started. I'm hosting a free 5-day challenge where I personally walk you through the exact steps to create and launch your high-ticket offer, even if you're starting from scratch. So the link to register for that is in the description below. Let's dive into step number 1. This is the very bottom of the pyramid. This base level is your foundation because your understanding of how the top 1% take risks is a basic principle that everyone needs to know first. And without it, you won't be able to take advantage of levels 2 and 3 that we're going to talk about later. Now, the first thing is people think the top 1% are crazy risk takers. They get rich by quitting their jobs, maxing out their credit card debt, or betting all of their money on wild new startup ideas. That's not how it really works. And you might be surprised to hear that the wealthiest people in the world are often the most risk averse. Take Bill Gates, for example. When he and Paul Allen launched Microsoft together, they had a mission that sounded pretty insane at the time. They set the goal of a computer on every desk in every home. And even they knew it was a long shot. But at the same time, when he started Microsoft, Bill Gates had one very clear, non-negotiable rule: to always keep enough cash in the company for it to survive an entire year without making a single dollar, which is the opposite of reckless. In fact, it's actually very conservative from a business standpoint. But this is the harsh truth about risk that nobody understands. The rich don't avoid risk, they just avoid uncalculated risk. If you take a look at what's happening all across the country here in the US, we spend over $100 billion a year on lottery tickets. And it's not the top 1% who are buying them. It's the poorest people. The bottom 20% of income earners spend 33 times more of their income on lottery tickets than those who are rich. Because when you're stuck in a dead-end job and your rent's overdue and you can't get a raise no matter how hard you work, a $3 lottery ticket feels like your only chance. And psychologist Daniel Kahneman explains this principle perfectly. He said, when all of your options are bad, your willingness to take a risk explodes because you've got nothing else to lose. But that's the big problem. Playing the lottery means taking the wrong kind of risk. For sure, you could win huge amounts of money, but the odds of this are so tiny that you're pretty much guaranteed to lose your money. And the top 1% don't gamble like that. They don't throw their money at chance. They make very strategic bets. And what they're specifically looking for is asymmetry opportunities, where the downside is pretty small and limited, but the upside is massive. Let's say you decide to move to a completely new state. What's the worst case scenario? You're lonely, you miss your family and your old friends, and so you end up flying all the way back home. But the potential upside is that you meet incredible people. You meet your life partner, you find better opportunities for work and business, and you grow faster in 1 year than you would have in 10 back home. That's an asymmetric risk. And it's the same with starting a business, investing in real estate, or even putting yourself out there and creating content online. Sure, you might risk a few $1,000s, a few weekends, a little ego, but the upside is financial freedom, time freedom, the ability to work wherever you want, and a career that's actually yours. The real secret here is not to look for certainty, but to look for asymmetry. And that's why you need the next level on our pyramid, so you know how to look for calculated risks that lead to big returns. Let me start with this truth first. Nobody taught you this in school. Your job won't make you rich. Even if you earn 6 figures or work at a top paying company like Google, Meta, Apple, or Microsoft. To be in the top 1% of earners in the US, you're looking at an average annual income of over $800,000. That's around $68,000 a month, or $17,000 a week. And it's over 13 times the national average salary, which is around $60,000. What makes this so frustrating for a lot of people is that on paper, a big salary looks like you're winning the lottery of life. You've got money coming in every single month, a big job title behind your name, paid vacations, a luxury apartment in the middle of New York or LA. But the reality is, chasing a higher income is often the first step in a cycle that leaves you feeling like you're always running, but never actually getting anywhere. And the top 1% know this. They know that income is just one small part of the wealth equation. And we now have data to actually back this up. A study that followed people in Norway for over 22 years found that people who built the most wealth didn't just rely on their salary. Those who actually made it to the top did something different. And they did two things more than anything else. Number one, they saved more than they spent. And number two, they earned bigger returns on the money they saved. And so they used their income not as the end goal, but as a way to funnel more money into assets that would generate greater returns. Things like businesses, real estate, stocks, intellectual property. And these assets earn money even when you sleep. And so let's say you start a new job earning $100,000 a year at a big tech firm. You could upgrade your lifestyle, buy a new car, or move to a bigger apartment. But the better option would be to live well within your means, invest your extra cash into assets that grow in value over time, because this is when your wealth really starts to grow. But not all assets are created equal, and that's why we need to move on to the final level of the pyramid, which is what really separates the top 1% from everyone else, and that's ownership. And so now that you understand why it's important to take calculated risks and how you can use those risks to generate exponential returns, the third and final piece to this puzzle is understanding the true power of ownership. And when most people hear the word ownership, they often jump straight into owning properties, which might sound like a dream: passive income, house price appreciation, a safe investment. But here's what nobody tells you. Returns don't just come in dollars with real estate. They also come in the form of hassle, stress, a huge headache. If your tenants stop paying rent, you have to chase them for money. If a boiler breaks down on a Sunday, that's your family time gone. You're down hundreds of dollars. And suddenly, what started to feel like passive income and a passive investment starts to feel like a second job. And most people forget this factor, and it drastically changes your true return on investment. And so if you want to choose a smarter investment, I recommend sticking with index funds. It's not sexy and it's nothing new, but it's low effort, diversified, and you can automate your investments, and your money compounds quietly in the background while you get on with your life. Index funds are slow. Unless you're investing at 18 and leave it for 40 years, you are unlikely to build serious wealth from the stock market alone. And the ultimate wealth machine that the top 1% use lies in business, either starting your own or buying another business. In fact, according to a study on Norwegians that we talked about before, the top 0.1% invest up to 90% of their wealth in equity, and specifically private equity or businesses. And that's because business has the power to scale beyond just you. It means that you can massively leverage your skills and even what you enjoy. And you can take full control over your time, and there's no ceiling to your actual earning potential. As Elon Musk said, you get paid in proportion to the difficulty of the problem you solve. And he actually lives by it. Every single day, at the start of each week, he asks, what's the hardest problem we need to solve, and how do we do it? Because that's the key to business. The profits lie in solving big problems for other people. For example, with my business, I help coaches create and sell high-ticket offers, because for most people, this is the hardest part. So I'm solving the biggest problem up front. I show you how to create and sell a high-ticket offer that changes lives for other people. Because coaching isn't just about a business. When it's done right, it's one of the most scalable, meaningful, and high-leverage vehicles for wealth creation that exists today. You're not chasing clients for $97 a pop. You're building a premium solution around your lived experience, your skill sets, and your story. And you're creating meaningful money in your life, money that feels good to earn because it comes from helping people make transformation. But here's the truth. Most people are actually really terrible at creating offers. Not because they don't have value, but because they don't know how to communicate that value in a way that actually gets people results and gets people to buy. They stay stuck trying to explain what they do, and they don't know how to find people that actually want to buy it. And they definitely don't know how to sell it in a way that feels natural and aligned. And that's exactly why I created a 5-day challenge where I literally walk you through every step of that process, from creating a high ticket offer and selling the high ticket offer step by step. And by the end of the 5 days, you won't just have clarity, you'll have an actual offer you can sell. It's practical, it's proven. I've used this with over 500 of my clients. So if you're looking to create your offer, I'll leave the link for you to register for that down below. And yes, business is a bit risky. 90% of startups fail, which is huge. But there is a way to start a business, take full ownership, maximize your returns, and unlock an asymmetric risk by going down what's called the hybrid path. And this is even backed by solid data. You are 33% less likely to fail if you start a business alongside your day job. Why is this? Because number one, you dramatically reduce your opportunity cost because you're still getting paid. Normally, when you quit a job to start your business, you give up your income, and that loss is your opportunity cost, the money you could have earned if you stayed employed. But if you keep your job while building the business on the side, you don't lose that income. So even if the business doesn't take off right away, you're not left with nothing. Number two, you can test your idea without the pressure of needing to make money to survive. Number three, you can build your business in a way that's sustainable. And number four, you get to find out if entrepreneurship is actually for you or not. Because the truth is, starting a business and running an entire company is not easy. Let's say you've got 10 hours a week to work on your side hustle alongside your 9 to 5. If you manage to use that time to double down on your niche, build your signature offer that I talked about, you'll most likely do really well when you go full time in the business. But if you can't make meaningful progress from those 10 hours, you're going full time in your business isn't going to save you. This is thanks to Parkinson's law, which says that work expands to fill the time you're given to complete it. So you'll spend hours wasting time on stuff that won't actually move the needle. And so the ultimate secret to building wealth like the top 1% is to, yes, become an entrepreneur, but start small. Stay employed while you test things out for your business. And when you find what's working for you, that's when you start to scale and build real wealth. But where do you even start? If you want to go down the path of becoming an entrepreneur like I did back in 2019, and what happens if you don't have any money to start with in the beginning. I broke it down exactly how to do it, how to start a business with no money in just 5 steps in this video here, which I'll link for you. I'd love for you to watch that one next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.